I'm going to go to go live. G'day guys, just give me a thumbs up if you hear any audio from me. Thanks a lot for joining me. It looks like I should have audio here. Yeah, thanks a lot for joining. This is great. What are we up to today? Well, I've been working on this little enclosure thing for my switching unit. I think I showed it in one of my previous videos, previous live streams, and just let me mute that. And I'm getting reasonably close to finishing it, but what I need is to bring all of the double audio. Okay, thanks guys. Echo. Oh, was that from, I would hope that that was from there. Okay, now that's good. Good, okay. Nikolai, no sound? I'm going to hope that's on your side. Okay guys, anyway, so I've started here making up this whole module unit, and one of the issues I've got is I need a bunch of external connections. In this case I need an external USB, Ethernet, and 4 HDMI cables to come out. Getting stuttery video. Let me just, I don't know if I can change that. I've got some people saying it's good, some people saying it's not good. YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Uh-oh, yeah, so I've got a too high a stream rate. Can I switch that in? Let me just jump in, and I think I have to go off air to change that. And if I go off air, well, that shouldn't stop the stream. Back on air. So, how are you guys looking now? I just had to do a quick break just to change my bandwidth that I'm streaming. So I've dropped the bandwidth down a little bit, and hopefully that should solve the issue. Okay. Where was I? Yeah, I'm trying to finish this off. I've got it mostly finished. I just need to connect all of these cables to come out through the back. I'm not gonna lift this up and show you the hole I made in the back of it, because I've had the switcher drop out if I move it around too much at this stage. So what I need to make is one of these. Basically, it's one of these, just like a closeout panel for all of these to connect into. Now, in itself, it's not a big deal, right? It's just a little. It's going to be a little piece of sheet metal. I've made things like this before in the past, and kind of hate it. You end up, I mean, drilling the holes is the easy part, but you end up sort of stitch drilling and filing and filing and fitting and filing, and it's kind of a pain. So this time, I have drawn this up in CAD. Let me just bring up my CAD screen for a second. Yep. So I drew up this part, and yeah, made a couple of 3D printed. Made a couple of 3D printed practice pieces. Moved a couple of holes around because my holes in the actual casing are not that perfect. Got it fitting nicely. So the next thing is to make this out of something more rigid, which will be a piece of aluminium. So nothing too complicated for today's job, but I am going to CNC it, as Stefano's asking. That was the plan. Honestly, I probably should have just, I should have probably done it with a laser. You know, realistically, this part is a kind of a classic part to do with a laser, but I really need to learn how to use FreeCAD's Path software, which is like its CAM module, and I really need to practice using the Maho more. You know, if I don't use it all the time, I kind of get out of the habit of like kind of the safety skills of how to use it without crashing the thing. So let's CNC this. One thing I find a bit weird in this program, FreeCAD, with its Path workbench, is it gives you a number of different options for like how you want to do this path. Like it's given me the option of offset, which I assume is like kind of a spiral path. At least that's what I was hoping to see, spiraling into the pocket. Zigzag obviously just goes backwards and forwards. Zigzag offset, I was assuming would go backwards and forwards to clean out the pocket, and then once around the racetrack to clear off the sidewalls. But let me just show you. I'll just select that. So you can see it's given me a zigzag path and then going around the outside. But if I post that out, just throw that into where I've been putting all the other ones. So there's the program post-processed. Now let me just pop over and raise a. I just need to. Oh no, wait a minute. I can get this. What I do like to do is use a second program called NC Viewer, which was just like an online. What do you call it? An online. No, I don't have it. You know, when you go through and load it and just backplotter, an online backplotter. So if we just load that one I just generated and take a quick look at it, you'll see why I didn't use it. So first we've got all of the drilling bits, but if we come down to here and then do the pocket, you'll see it goes round the outside first and then cleans out the inside, which to me is basically useless. Yeah. So I did play around with that until I got one that worked for me, and that was the one I showed you before, which was just using offset. And once again, I'm doing 2 layers. On the first layer, it also went around the outside first, but it goes around the outside, cleans it all out. Oh, goes around the outside. It's kind of not really spiraling, but goes through, cleans up the middle, then goes down a level, and then goes outwards. So that I figured was good enough, so that's what I'm using. Just jumping into the comments section here, what have we got to... the item mini is slick as hardware solution, OBS is the same in software. Yeah, I was using OBS for most of my live streams, but I just found it's a bit too flaky for me. Being a software solution, you know, sometimes it would mute my mic when I wasn't expecting it. Just gave me real stress, to be honest. Yeah, so that's why I switched to the Atom Mini, and it is a pretty amazing device. What I really like about it, well, I was playing around before. I by mistake bumped the plug a couple of times, and if you switch it off or anything, it comes back really quickly. It only goes offline for a few seconds, so that's quite helpful. Yeah, I love the manual machining, but I agree this kind of thing sucks to make by hand. Yeah, that's the way I see it too. Fusion 360, yeah, Fusion 360 would be great for personal use, but because I've monetized the channel, this is not considered personal use anymore. So I'm kind of stuck with either buying licenses, and honestly, the channel doesn't generate enough income to cover the cost of a software license. So I've been working with FreeCAD now for best part of a year, and to be honest, it is kind of growing on me. I guess it's now trained me of how it wants me to draw and how to model, and most of the things I want I can get it to do now. So yeah, but now I'm trying to learn the CAD side of it, the CAM side of it, and that's another challenge. Making videos, you making things you don't make money on, makes, yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that is, if you read their license, and there's also some videos about that, that is definitely the position of Autodesk. If you're making money with somehow attached to their software, they want their pound of flesh. Yeah, more HDMI inputs with the Atom. I did use 3 cameras with OBS as well, but I ended up using one of them being my laptop's webcam, and it just wasn't as nice a quality. So now I've got 3 cameras set up, plus I've also got the laptop going into the 4th HDMI. Okay. SolidWorks Maker is only $100 a year. Oh, and covers this use case. Yeah, that was the question I was going to ask. Stefano just asked it. Does it have a CAM program with it? I do kind of like the way that that path is integrated into FreeCAD. So anyway, where are we at? So need to make one of them out of one of these. So let's just jump over to the Maho. As you can see, I've done some work with sheet metal before. And normally I do a half-assed job of trying to like stick it down or double-sided tape or super glue, and it never works for me. I always end up moving and I ruin the part. So this time I actually took the time to take a piece of scrap aluminium and make a fixture plate specifically for this job, and hopefully this time it won't move around and I can make a decent part for you with no drama and none of the chaos which Nikolai owns is here to see. Oh, hey, by the way, Nikolai owns, I hope you've been following his channel. He's got a real commercial shop up in Denmark, does amazing stuff with it, amazing parts. And we've actually been talking, would you guys be interested if we set up like a live stream where I do an interview of Nikolai owns? So if that's something you might be into, give me some feedback in the comment section here. Okay, before I go to the computer, anything, the machine, anything more? Sim level of it, parts, OpenSCAD, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Fusion. That's basically the discussion of dancing around license restrictions. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That Alexander hit the nail on the head there. Okay, over to the machine. So this is just a bit of a tight fit, but should go in nicely. Basically, I'll do it with 3 setups. The first is just holding on the edge like this, drilling all the holes. Then I can switch the screws over into some of the holes that I just drilled to clamp it down more solidly. And then I can do the final 2, which is the milling the pockets and then milling around the edge, and then we should be done. This aluminium is something which I think it was the old letterbox that was at this house when we bought the house like 10 years ago, and it's a really gummy, horrible aluminium, so it will kick up a lot of burrs. I can't really do much about that. I'll just have to knock them down with a file once I'm finished. Okay, let me just also move over. Let me just move this camera over as well, so we can get a look at the thing with 2 cameras, I guess. I'll leave it reasonably high so I can duck under it, and turn on an extra light. A bit more light there. How does that look? That's probably a little bit too much for this camera. Oh, that's all right. And this one. Okay, I think we're looking good now. Quick check of the comments section. Autodesk's become a real dog, yeah, for licenses. Hey, thanks for your feedback, Deadwing. That's very nice. Sounds terrific with a stream. Yeah, Nikolai. Yeah, cool. Thanks for confirming that. Robert, you cannot continue to use a bit of a non-starter. Yeah. Mark, agree. Just saved my Sunday. Hi, Mill. Yeah, scrap 2024 would definitely machine nicer than this. This stuff's horrible, but anyway. Personally, FreeCAD. Okay, so that's all. You guys keep your discussion going. Hey, by the way, while I'm working on the machine, I'm gonna have my back to this screen quite a lot of the time. I have been thinking. I think I've got an old television out in the back room somewhere, so I should dig that out of its box and bolt it to the wall or something. But as it is, I won't have much attention to the chat. So if I do something really wrong and yeah, you think I you want to get my attention, you're all going to have to like 1, 2, 3 and yell at the same time so that I hear you, okay? So what do we got here? Let's jump to camera 3 and let's put a bit of an overview on it. The audio is going to be a bit loud from here on in, of course, with the machine running. Just wait for it to wake back up. Okay, so I've got my toolpath loaded, and let's go. So first up, we've got a tool change to put a drill in. So I'm just pausing here, just looking at distance to go, 113 millimeters. There's plenty of space. I shouldn't hit anything. That's good. Next thing I'm looking at is did it load the offset of my tool? This is tool number 5. It's a 3 millimeter drill, and I've got an 11 millimeter offset set. So that's all about what I would expect. Let me just give you another angle there. Okay, take the pause off. I've also got well, I'll show you what I've got. So I've learnt to get on the feed override and just ride that down. I mean, in this case, okay. So I've set up with an optional stop, 50 millimeters above my zero. In this case, 0 is actually the underside of the work, not the overside. So if my tool offset's correct, I should be about 2 millimeters below the level of this block, my 50 millimeter block. So that's good. Now it's going to get loud because it's going to start the spindle at 4,000 RPM and go around and start the drilling. Right, well, there's the first op done. No mayhem yet. So just checking here. Are we doing blind milling? Oh, video's black for me. Oh man, sorry guys, I hit fade to black by mistake there. Sorry about that. That was figure trouble on my part. I tried to do a switch from camera 2 to 3. Must have hit the fade to black, and then. And sorry, yeah, and then ran over back to babysit the machine. Duh. Okay. Now, oh God. Sorry about that. Okay. Next up, moving the screws just to... By the way, this is probably the time that it'd be a good time to go over and grab yourself another beer or something, because I just need to quickly undo all these screws. That's probably a bit too bright. Let me just change the aperture there a bit. Yeah, it's so easy to do a screw up in this system. I guess there's some people make this whole live streaming thing look really easy. Hey, is it normal for a DC analog-based system like this this Maho is to have this sort of constant, sort of almost grinding sort of sound on the motors? I guess grinding's not the right word, but it's, you hear there's a sort of slight sort of pulsing sound to the motors when they're not moving. I suspect that I've probably got some issue with the tuning of the motors. When I got the Maho, I never touched the settings in the Indromat. All I did was, adjusted obviously the PID control loop in LinuxCNC, but I assumed that the original settings on the Indromat from Maho would be better than anything I could ever come up with by playing around with it, so I never adjusted anything in there. But it may well be that an analog system drifts with time, and you probably should go in and maybe like retune it regularly or something, but I never have. So as I say, I just have to live with it sort of making this slight oscillating sound. Okay. Right, quick move back. Let's see what's happening in the comments section. Are you still screaming at me, or have you stopped? No pick again? As usual, can be yes, the hum is usual and can be reduced with tuning. Yeah, there is that companion software that I'm using to control the Atom. I'm using it on the Stream Deck, which of course is tethered to my computer. But there is I could set it up to, and I probably will set it up. There's a phone app that I can use, which I can really see would be quite handy here. So yeah, it's on my list of things to do. It's just something that's not really got to the highest priority yet. So, okay. Can often run the camera while he live streams. Yeah, I probably should get our #1 fan Nico over and get him playing playing between the cameras. Okay, so that was my first toolpath. Let's go and look at the second one. I guess I'll throw that back on as well. So I did save them as different toolpaths, so I just have to load the second one, which is the 2mm end mill pocket. Okay, once again we're going to start with a tool change. Just a sec. I'm pretty happy here that somewhere along the line, years ago, I bought this really high quality, they're called Hydro Dane foot in German. This is one of the tool holders where the actual bore which the tool goes into is relatively thin on the inside, and all of this area in here is hollow and filled with grease. So once you put the tool in, you just screw in the screw there, which adds pressure to the grease, clamps down around the tool, and these ones generally are supposed to have at least very, very good run out. So obviously for such a tiny end mill like this 2mm, that's exactly what you want, is low run outs. So just switch back. Okay. So I've got 33mm to go before it gets the optional stop. That's fine. Once again, this was a trick that was taught to me by Peter, you know, who's got that big 5-axis CNC mill in America, the big Mazak. So yeah, once again, I should be about 2mm below the edge of the block, because I forgot that I was indexing off the lower surface rather than the top, but at least it shows my tool offset's good. My tool is tool number 15, diameter 2 end mill, offset's in there, so let's go. This one needs coolant. Right, thanks for sitting through that. That was kind of painful, wasn't it? A bit slow. It would be really nice to either get one of those speeders, you know, which are like a 40 taper tool with a planetary gearbox. We're giving like a 4:1 speed up ratio for like, and then driving ER collets. They do come up sometimes. I've been very tempted to get one, but I've also heard that they're pretty unreliable. I don't know. The other option is, of course, just make up a sort of an aluminium bracket or something to clamp onto a 40 taper tool holder and just offset a high-speed spindle off to the side for cutting this sort of aluminium. Yeah, guess we'll see. I'm sure I'll do something like this sooner or later. Right, let's go over here, and the next one, I'll just move this bit out of the way. So the next thing we need to do is mill around the outside, and that toolpath is much faster. Just let me load it. So, for this toolpath, just let me start it. Yeah, for this toolpath, I'm using a 6mm 6-flute carbide. Now, I think I got this end mill from Boeing surplus about 20-something years ago, but I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, let's run this. This is pretty fast because I think I've got a 800mm per minute drag race around the outside of the part on this one. So. Right, just turn off the drives of the machines to stop them grinding away in the background, and let's have a look at it. How did it come out? Just let me set the camera on it. Camera 3. Nope. Camera 2. Yeah, so there we have it. Hideous burring. But hopefully it'll do the job. Well, actually, I might whack that with a file while it's still bolted down. Just a sec. Yeah, it really does kick up a very thick burr. I'll probably paint this black anyway, so you know, I'm not too worried about the actual scratches and that. This aluminium was already scratched before I even chose it. So for this job, once it's got paint on it, no one's going to notice. It's not like an aircraft or anything. They're a little more notch sensitive than breakout panels. Okay. Once again, good time to go and replace that beer while I'm just unscrewing all these. I think I'll probably post something to the FreeCAD forum just to ask, whether there's a simpler way to come up with a more, just a more efficient toolpath, I guess. Like having this thing going in, spiraling in from the outside makes no sense to me whatsoever. And also having that zigzag path, first starting with its perimeter and then doing the zigzag also seemed pretty pointless to me. But what will probably come back is I would assume the designers are going to come back and say, nope, you used it wrong. And and I'm assuming there probably is an easy way of doing this. But these burrs knock off reasonably easily. Where's my rag? Right. That's what it looks like finished. Let's do a test fit. Just like I bought one. Actually, no. I think it's actually designed so that you should have a bigger slot, because it turns out there's a plastic lip at the bottom which I didn't notice when I was designing it. Actually, I think I'll just leave it. I think I'll just bolt it up like that. It makes no difference to the function, and yeah, and I'll just leave that. Okay, let me just jump back into the comment section. So, going back up the comment section a little bit, what do we got here? Yeah, kudos to the end mill. Yeah, it survived. Real fighter. No gumming of the flutes, bit of a success. Any machine up you can walk away from. So, yeah, Nikolai, no mayhem today, sorry mate. But hey, let's do that live stream together, and then you can do the mayhem, okay? Yeah, poor material. Yeah, in this case, yeah, I would have been much better off getting some decent aluminium. But as I said, before I go and buy a sheet of it for something this big, when I've already got a piece lying in the scrap bin, it's just, yeah, I'll just work my way through it. You end up having to set up stuff without the vice, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Boeing surplus is, yeah, everything from Boeing is surplus if you're not concerned about tool control. Stefano, I can send you some cobalt end mills for use with aluminium. Oh, I'd appreciate that. I can kill end mills I go through quite a few of them generally, so I'd appreciate that. That's going to be fun to deburr. Yep, there you go. Usually you'd run a spring pass with a chamfer bit. Yeah, I did consider doing a chamfer toolpath, Alexander, but it's pretty thin, and I decided I'd just whack a file across it, leave it with reasonably sharp edges, because it kind of fits nicely to those thin sheet metal parts that are around it. And yeah, that was my thinking anyway. I did consider doing a chamfer, but decided against it. Beat to fit, paint to match. Yeah. Do I have any aluminium, special end mills for aluminium? At least not the really little ones. I do have some 5 and 6 millimeter that are specific for aluminium, but not the really little ones. I'd have concerns about the cutting depth if you put two plates. Don't understand that. I did this in two. I think it's 1.5 millimeter aluminium, and I did 2.75 of a millimeter cuts for those pockets. Yeah, let's be honest. For a 2 mil, this spindle's not fast enough. Dead right. So what's your day job? Yeah, I inspect aircraft is my day job. Cut off the plastic on the connector and let it be flush. Yeah, good one. That's I'll probably end up doing that. Good point. Isn't there a bit of corner filing? Yes, there is. Actually, this is where I'm cheating. This was actually my test piece. This is the one I just made. So yeah, I do have to just put a file into those two corners. But I didn't need to file any of those cutouts, which was pretty good. Michelle's here, Rustanox. Good to see you here, mate. Good one. Love your channel. Watch it every time. Really appreciate the videos you're uploading, Rusty. We were advised not to screw on terminals when pulled, better loosened than broken. Not to screw on terminals. Yeah, these are only going to be internal. These are the connectors which go internal to this case. And up underneath, so the external, all of the external cables are only plug-in cables. They don't have any screws on them. Hope the ports still fit after painting. Looks pretty tight. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I need to be a bit careful not to get too much paint on the inside, or just scrape it back off. 3D printed spaces would sort out the lip. Yeah, or I cut them off, or I just ignore it. One of the three's going to happen. By installing rails on the roof of the workshop, you can prevent the disturbance that occurs in your movement on the workshop level. Yeah, what you're seeing in terms of is not the most stable of devices, and the main thing is I've got rubber wheels running on this rail here, so they've worn quite heavily already. And the second thing I've got is, because I need to fit this through a very narrow door, which is I think 70 centimeters wide, I had to make the foot quite close, foot quite narrow. So yeah, you do see in my videos that I quite often bump this thing. I do my best to edit those out, reshoot them, or stabilize, but it is a disadvantage. Well, maybe I'll put something from the roof in this room, but I think I'll quite likely do that above the Schaublen. I think it would make, for me, maybe more sense to have a second sort of camera arm directly above the Schaublen. Use joint bases to close or move away the focal. Use joint bases to close or move away the focal distance of the lens. You control all the paths by computer and remote control. Well, yeah, that's really getting that's really getting beyond my level, I guess. A lot of my issue is I'm interested in all of these things, but it's so much work to actually, go through, learn how to use the stuff, learn how to use the software, programming hardware, making fixtures, putting this all in place. It's very difficult for me to get to add some of these things into my sort of workflow and stuff. Yeah. Inheritance did install some nice rails on the ceiling for camera work. The other problem I've got in here is simply that the ceiling is so low. Like I'm 6 foot. It's only about just over 7 foot, 7'6" at the most. The ceiling, let's call that 2.5 meters or something. So the other issue, of course, is anything I build down from the ceiling, you still got to get under it and get around it. So yeah, it's certainly not easy. There's a lot of things. I do watch those sort of videos, and I kind of toss up whether to do it or not. But yeah. I got a question. What case did I use on the Atom? It's a Amazon's Basic one. I did buy another one first. I tried to get one that was like the smallest possible that I could get everything in. Yeah, I mismeasured the monitor and it didn't fit. So then I switched it out for this Amazon Basics one. Super solid. It's probably more solid than it needs to be because it's 5mm thick plastic and it weighs a ton. So I kind of thought I was going to make this so that when I travel, I could take this with me and do like a, maybe live stream from somebody else's shop, or if I go to New Zealand or something. But it's so heavy. It'd have to be a dedicated trip almost, because with this plus a tripod and a couple of cameras, you're already getting pretty much towards the maximum baggage allowance. Black anodizing would be awesome. That's true. I haven't learnt to anodize. Stefano, I've got an email address. If you go onto the channel's About page, there's an email address. You can contact me through that. Thanks, mate. Make folding legs. Yeah, once you get to folding legs, you're pretty much into tripods, I guess. I do have 2 tripods, a larger one and a smaller one. They're a pain. I've got this camera sitting on a tripod right now, so I do use them, but where possible, I use the studio stand. It's just so much faster for setting up angles and switching angles between shots. And this is pretty important for making the video interesting. Like as you saw before, because I only had one angle during that really slow milling process, kind of gets boring, huh? Yeah, motion controlled cinematography. I actually saw one of those channels where they do a lot of tech reviews. Bought like a KUKA, industrial robot, like a huge industrial robot, just to do sort of product shots of gadgets, which is a bit overkill if you ask me. Yeah, the garage door also is in the way, of course. That frame goes up to about here, that's correct. Nikolai owns, will you come machine in my shop now? Friendly workers and a free beer on Friday. Yeah, sooner or later I'm going to have to come up to Denmark and do a shop inspection, huh? Make a video and a live stream shop inspection up there. I owe you a beer too, because I said you'd be running out of space in your shop by the end of this year, because I know you moved last year, and the rate you were getting tools, I figured you'd need to move again, and you haven't. So Nikolai, I owe you a beer. Hi from Slovenia. G'day from Vienna. Do you focus on one job at a time, multiple projects? Yeah, I try to do one project. Like I really want to finish the Shoblin, but sometimes I get into a place where, like at the moment, I'm wiring up the control panel of the Shoblin, and wiring is just boring to make videos of. I've already made a number, and they never go well, basically. So in the time when I'm doing the wiring, I tend to try and do some other project at the same time, like the dual gearbox, but then that chews up all my time and I don't make progress on the wiring. So it's difficult, when you work a full-time job and just do this sort of evenings. My weekends are pretty much tied up with Saturdays are editing. I normally finish whatever filming I'm doing by lunchtime on a Saturday, and then I edit Saturday afternoon up through into the night. Try to get finished Saturday night, but often Sunday morning I may have to do final edit, maybe make some error correction and stuff. Upload the video, which also takes quite a bit of time, and then you've got at least an hour and a half of work of setting the ad breaks, making a thumbnail. Thumbnails are super important in YouTube. So it takes time to make a thumbnail. I've got a mate in New Zealand who I normally send my thumbnail. We bounce back and forth a few ideas to try and come up with improvements to it. Add all of the basic comments under the video, any breaks in the video for or any links that you add into the video. All that stuff all takes time. So then by the time I upload, it's normally Sunday morning's gone. Sunday afternoon I'm normally cleaning. My wife and I tend to clean the house on Sunday afternoons. A lot of commenting happens on Sunday, of course, because there's a lot of that's when the video is most active. And then I try to start basically after the videos, before the video. So Sunday afternoon, I normally try to start the next video, and start on the next project. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I just sit on my backside and watch YouTube because, we all need a break sometimes. What do we got? Back to the comments here. Why did you quit using the Gmoccapie tool length routine? You mean the automatic touching off? Basically, the problem I've got is I'm running my tool length probe and my pendant temporarily through an open hole on that side of the Shoblin. And it's been temporary for 2 years because, as they say, nothing's more permanent than a temporary solution that works, right? But it's a terrible solution because I really need the pendant on the same side as the actual main control panel of the Shoblin, of the Maho. But it's just one of those things, It's as long as it's working, there's always something else more important. Sooner or later, I do need to do a decent maintenance on the Maho. Take all the covers back off, check all of the oil lines, make sure none of them have got crushed or jammed or something. Make sure the bellows are still in good condition, clean out any swarf under there. And when I've got the covers off, that will be the time to run a run a wire from the control panel down that mount beam across there, up on the inside of the machine, where it comes up to about that level, then goes back, goes down, and then goes into the control panel at the back. So it'd be quite a bit of work to run those wires through, but it is something I'd like to do. However, if I'm going to do that, I should probably also scrap my current pendant and do one based on the Mesa 7i73 card, which means you only need a single wire. It basically runs everything through Ethernet. And those cards, there's a gentleman in Germany who designed a really good, really intuitive pendant for that Mesa card. So that's, yeah, it's kind of on the to-do list, probably on category C, I guess. When you've already got something working, it's kind of hard to switch. Thanks a lot. Toma did some KUKA robots. Yeah, wow, what a beast of a machine, huh? Sad the robots having to live such an unfulfilling task. Yep, it is crazy. Yeah, you know, literally an industrial robot just moving a camera in and out and around. GM22 bought a lathe, the VDF V3. Wow, nice lathe, huh? Big lathe. Might have bitten off more than I can handle. Nah, you'll be right. Just remember, any big project is just a whole bunch of small steps. Just do one thing at a time. Also, with something like if it's your first big machine, don't strip it all down and overhaul it straight away. First off, like if you look at what Michael did on the Rustanox channel with his new lathe, set it up, started using it, found what he didn't like, started changing, modifying the parts that weren't working for him, like the tailstock. That makes way more sense than getting straight in and ripping the machine apart. So that would be my recommendation. Hey, wait, I did think the Schaublin was finished. Now the Schaublin, the basic lathe is working, but I don't have a finished control panel, and I hate working it with just a keyboard and like a normal computer keyboard. That's really not a safe way to operate a CNC machine like that. So yeah, no, it's definitely not what I consider finished. I need to finish that control module, get that all installed. Then I need to do the sort of pendant module with the two control wheels on the front. That's another pretty big project. And then I still need to completely disassemble the automatic tool changer, which I assume is glued together with coolant, clean it, reassemble it, and hopefully get that working as well. So those are the sort of three major project steps before I will consider the Schaublin finished, if anything's ever finished here. Oh yeah, that was the channel, our MB blah 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 K, that was the one. So, where am I? Just wading through French. Thank you for your videos. Thanks a lot, Exal Industries. I appreciate the feedback. So Nikolai owns, Mark, you're crushing my dreams about being a full-time YouTuber. I mean, guys, go and check out Nikolai's channel. This is a guy I'm sure who's working 60 to 80 hours a week as a small CNC shop owner and father and all the other stuff in his life. I mean, I'm super impressed, Nikolai, that you get any videos done at all. I'm really impressed. Like, I'm sure you're way busier than I am. Yeah, if you can sleep 2 hours a day, you can do it. Yep. Yep. Where am I at here? So, do you think there's room on YouTube for another South Bend lathe restoration? There's always room for, like, look at Inheritance Machining. They just started. Obviously, this was a little different because I think his wife was already a successful YouTuber, so they had all of the video chops and stuff. But I mean, his videos are fantastic. The story, the whole, inheriting the shop from his grandfather, and that, what a fantastic story, eh? I love that stuff. And everybody's got a unique view on things, a unique approach to things. So I think there's always going to be space for the next channel. Went to a Kawasaki robots trade stand. All we talked about was bikes. That's cool. G'day JMTX. G'day Canada. Kennametal turned for me in Austria to a nightmare of forever waiting for replacement inserts. Okay. I guess I don't machine that many hours that I normally don't consume inserts fast enough that I actually run out. Normally a packet of inserts lasts me a reasonable amount of time because literally my machines run for a few minutes each week, and all the rest of the time I'm figuring out how to get things set up and how to get the tool holding to work, the work holding to work. So how do you write your code for the CNC machines? Yeah, in this case, this was done using the post processor, which is built into the path module of FreeCAD. So, and they have a post processor specifically for LinuxCNC. So, and it seems to work pretty much out of the, it works very well for me. I think the only thing I edited in afterwards was adding conditional stops with M1s at strategic places just to make sure I could do like sort of safety approach, make sure I had everything offsets working before I continued. So those I edited in manually. Nikolai owns, not bad when you love your work. Yeah, and I mean, Nikolai, I can see from the quality of the parts that you're making, man, you're an artist. I can see your pride in your workmanship. Good on you. Have you already watched the newest Tony video? No, I haven't. I only heard once I started this live stream that he got a new one out today, so I'll be looking forward to that. I'll probably watch that as soon as we finish. Remember, I got a package for the shoulder when it's finished. Oh, thanks. Nice to hear. Basically, that means it sure takes forever if you have to mine it. Yeah. If your hobby is mainly working on your machines, what are you going to do with all your when all your machines are fixed? I think 2 years ago, I decided that my next project is going to be a replica 3-cylinder air-cooled radial engine. There was an English designer in the 1910s. Sorry, 1910s through to the 1920s. Who made a few motorcycles with little 3-cylinder radial engines, and I just love the design of this. So that is my dream, is once the Schaublin is finished and I've got the other sort of the dual and the other bits and pieces working, I really would like to basically build a replica of this. I don't have the name in my head right now, but this little 3-cylinder air-cooled radial engine. So that's kind of what I'd like to do. What's the research on starting a repair job on any of your machines? Need to change some spindle bearings and I'm avoiding trying. Yeah, I haven't needed to touch the spindle bearings on the Maho. I did pull the spindle on the little lathe, the little Bolly. That's of course a plain bearing machine, and I learned to scrape plain bearings on that machine. And then the Schaublin, I pulled the spindle out of its housing, but I never demounted the spindle. I never demounted the bearings from the spindle. So all I did was I made up a setup to wash out the old grease and re-greased them. Time will tell. I may have made things worse. These are incredibly high precision spindle bearings in the Schaublin, and it's quite possible that my cleaning of the bearings may have actually just made them worse than they would have been if I'd left them alone. But it's one of those things. If the bearings need doing, they need doing. I do worry about the Maho. The thing with it is it has the lower spindle bearings are a pair of roller bearings which have no inner race. They run directly on the actual spindle itself, the hardened spindle. So if those bearings get shot, they can damage the spindle, and then you get into that whole. If that was the case, I'd probably just send the whole spindle to Singer and get it professionally repaired. I'm not set up for the sort of precision that would be necessary to repair the, to do a build up and grinding repair on that spindle. I mean, the grinding, I guess, could be done by my mate Franz, but it's one of those things. I think before I fluff around with it for months, if it happens, I think I'd probably send it off and get it done professionally, just also to get the thing working again. Yeah, radial bike engines. Do I like bikes? I really do. I started riding motorbikes when I was 15 in New Zealand, and I rode them all the time until I immigrated to Austria. When I came here, there's no agreement between Austria and New Zealand about validating driver's licenses, so I had to redo my car license. And living in the inner city, I mean, motorbikes aren't that much fun riding in a city, and then Vienna's very flat around it. You have to actually ride for probably easily 40 minutes to an hour before you can really get out into the hill country where it's actually more fun to ride. And so I never actually did my motorbike license over here. So I think I've ridden, I went blatting around my mate's, around my cousin's farm when I was in New Zealand the time before last. I rode another mate's motorbike about 10 years ago, and that's literally it. So, I mean, I love motorbikes, but I don't actually ride them anymore, so it's kind of sad, I guess. My stuff normally also doesn't need that much time to machine either, just like the time I did Sphericast and had to mill away like 20 centimeters in the midst. Oh man, that's a pain, huh? Yeah. Okay, well guys, I really appreciate your coming. I really appreciate your patience to sit through my live stream. Thanks very much, and I'm going to end it here and wish you all, if I don't see you before Christmas, I hopefully will get one more video out, but if I don't see you all before Christmas, very Merry Christmas, and we'll be hearing from another definitely before the New Year's. So thanks for your support. It's great. Oops, not yet. Wait a minute. I need to run my outro, don't I? There we go.